Minnesota, and U.S. immigration agents have shot and killed a second U.S. citizen. His name is Alex Pretti in the city of Minneapolis. The 37-year-old nurse at the Veterans Affairs Hospital was fatally shot during a federal immigration enforcement operation. U.S. Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem has described the incident, saying Pretti approached Border Patrol officers with a 9mm handgun. She has also agreed and added that when agents tried to disarm him, Pretti reacted violently, which prompted an agent to fire defensive shots out of fear for their safety. Let's listen into a few of her comments.
Our law enforcement officers were there doing a targeted operation against an individual who was in this country illegally and had a criminal conviction for domestic assault with intent to do bodily harm and other convictions as well. This individual went and impeded their law enforcement operations, attacked those officers, had a weapon on him and dozens of rounds of ammunition, wishing to inflict harm on these officers coming brandishing like that and impeding their work that they were doing. When you perpetuate violence against a government because of ideological reasons and for reasons to resist and perpetuate violence, that is the definition of domestic terrorism. This individual who came with weapons and ammunition to stop a law enforcement operation of federal law enforcement officers committed an act of domestic terrorism.
However, local leaders are questioning this account and have called for the removal of the 3,000 federal agents deployed to Minneapolis for immigration enforcement. Witnesses have captured video of the incident, and one of the clips shows agents wrestling with Pretti before shots were fired. Let's listen into a local resident who claims to have witnessed the shooting and even captured the whole incident on his device.
Well, he was walking and stuff, and then the ICE just jumped out of nowhere and just started tackling and tussling with him. He was just walking, and they just surrounded him, and he slipped on the ice, and they started tussling with him. And then they hit him in the head with the canister, and then he started tussling with them, and then they shot him. They just killed him right there. He was unarmed. He was just walking. He didn't have no gun or nothing and stuff, he was just dead. And I got the video right here. There was 6 agents on him, so ain't no way he should have been able to reach for a gun if he had a gun. But, it's cold out here. Everybody's bundled up, so you don't know what they might have. You know what I'm saying? But it's just sad to see him, get killed like that. It didn't take for them to kill him just to take him on the ground. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, I don't know if he had a gun on him, right?
Joining us now to discuss this situation coming out of the United States is Colonel Sanjit Sirohi, an international relations and defense expert joining us live from New Delhi. Thank you very much for joining us. Of course, the rhetoric continues from both sides with video of the incident circulating on social media. Once again, much similarly like after the killing of Renee Good, the Trump administration have jumped to a conclusion before an investigation can take place. What are your thoughts on the precautions and the actions of Kristi Noem, the Homeland Security Advisor, coming to an account of events before officials from either the state or the federal government have indeed looked into the incident in full?
Good morning, Thomas. First of all, thank you very much for having me on this show and discussing something very, very deplorable. That a young man of 37 years old, he was filming, he was shooting the incident, what was happening, and then in return, he was apprehended, he was wrestled down on the ground, and the people around there, they say that he was not carrying any weapon. And without any provocation, he was fired at, and the 10 rounds were fired within 5 seconds. So if they are talking about that this was in self-defense, I don't understand. Once you have fired 1 or 2 rounds and he was motionless on the ground, why they fired 10 rounds? So it is totally concoction story. We are not very sure what happened. The eyewitnesses have different point of view, and the police have different point of view. So I think it is very, very sad incident which shouldn't have taken place, and the similar incident took place on 7th January also, where Renee Good was also fired upon and killed. So I think these people, what they are doing is intention is absolutely correct, but the way they are handling this situation is totally incorrect. Thomas.
Indeed, and of course, this comes as video circles online of the incident with the actual actions of either side pretty unclear in things that are going on. Do you think that incidents like these are a good thing? Apologies, recordings like this are a good thing due to the online debate between an already partisan country it of course causes.
Yes, no, recording of videos, I think these recording of videos are absolutely a good thing because then you know what has actually happened. Otherwise, the police or the enforcement agency, they can say whatever they want to say. He was a US citizen, he was not an immigrant, he was not an illegal immigrant. Even if he was carrying a weapon, he had a permit to carry the weapon. And the video which we have seen only him carrying a mobile phone and he was whistling and he was trying to control the traffic. So I don't see that there was any provocation from his side or he showed anything that he was offensive in a manner and he was not having a weapon. So I don't know how the law enforcement agencies are saying that he was armed and he tried to take out his arm. So that is not understood. And there were 7-8 people who were wrestling with him. So I don't understand that 7-8 people could not control one person and they were scared that he's going to fire at them. So this story is not going to go down like this.
And of course, Colonel Sirohi, this comes as 3,000 immigration officers remain inside the city of Minneapolis, a Democratic stronghold, something which both the mayor of the city, Jacob Frey, has spoken out about, along with Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. Do you think that this incident will increase Trump's likelihood to take ICE out of Minneapolis, or do you think it might even pursue him to increase federal authority troops and immigration officers further?
Look, this situation is although under control, but this thing has been going on since 7 January and today is 25th January, so about 18 days have already taken place. And so I think either he should, for the time being, they should stop all this, what is happening, and maybe later on when things cool down, then they can start off again. But if you start increasing the federal forces, then I think this situation will become worse. So in that case, I think it is better to go slow on this for the time being, and then later on they can start off what they want to start off, because what government is doing is not wrong, because there are about 12 to 13 illegal immigrants in America. So the intention of the government is absolutely correct, but the way they are handling this situation, that is totally not correct.
Okay, Colonel, do stay with us as we move on to our next story. We stay in the United States.